Hello, I'm with Tere again. I just realized how you spelled your name, Ray.
Uh, T-Ray, definitely wrong.
Definitely wrong.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm with Tere, and this is our last segment of episode 4 now. So, um, please share with the people, Tere, your last interest, and we'll talk about it as usual.
Okay. My last interest is choosing like a creative career. So living life as a creative. I know it sounds broad, it kind of is, but we'll see how it ends up.
Yes. Well, there's one
Mhm.
criteria: making $7,000 a year or less.
Yes, exactly.
I actually had a conversation with a friend recently who said that she like looked it up and she said the average, at least in the US, the average actor makes
Ooh,
$7,000 a year.
yeah, acting is tough. Acting, I think, is one of the toughest
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
Because oh man, you're just so dependent. You're dependent on casting directors,
that's true.
on audiences. Oof, a lot of things. It's
That's
pretty
true.
tough. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a tough industry to get into, apparently. So that's a creative thing, right? Yeah.
definitely. I think acting is definitely a creative pursuit. It's not one that I'm good at or that I ever want to do, but it's definitely a creative pursuit, I would say.
Mm. So, what do you
Mhm.
want to tell us about living life as a creative?
Ooh, so I think a few things like learning how to live your life and organize your time around time dedicated to your craft. So uh, that means practicing, knowing how much you want to practice, knowing how much you want to put your work and yourself out there are all really difficult things. And I guess also having the balls to like stick to your decision,
Mm.
you know, that's one of the toughest. Because people can definitely be like, oh, like, that can be a hobby, but it's not a real career and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it can be tough.
Interesting. Do you find some of that difficulty?
Um, yeah, you mean in choosing to stick to it?
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think in the past I've had a lot of difficulty like owning that I was a creative, even though, I don't have shows selling out all over the world and I don't have, any big clients or anything like that. So I'm definitely at the beginning of my career. And who knows if I'll end up still, like choosing painting or drawing or illustrating as a career. But I'm definitely, you know, in my baby phase, in my baby steps. And but I think something that's been different these past few years is that I have tried to own that, I'm a creative and gonna make it work somehow.
And in what ways have you been? I mean, I think I know, but just for the sake of this segment, in what ways have you been owning the fact that you're a creative person?
Um, well, whenever people ask like what you do and things like that, even something as simple as answering like, "Oh, I'm an artist," is a big step, because I could say like, "Oh, I'm an English teacher, but I also do art on the side," which is kind of like playing down, what you want to do. Um, and what you spend your days, thinking about. So little steps like that, but also like investing in a studio for myself, investing in a lot of tools, applying to a lot of art competitions and things like that.
Nice.
Yeah. So really like owning and trying to make it work rather than laying down in defeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so you have a studio. I mean, I know of
Hmm.
that. It's not far from where you live, right?
No, it's maybe like now a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
What I'm just curious for myself, when do you find yourself going there and why do you find yourself going there?
So I'm working a little more hours this year, but I try to go after school, but mostly on the weekends because after school I can be a bit tired. So I'll do some work or some sketching at home in preparation for things that I want to do. And yeah, I'm trying to, keep my mind a bit healthy in terms of like work life balance, but also keep myself happy by doing enough artwork
Mm.
to feel good about.
To feel good about.
Like myself. So like if I don't produce or make that much work, I feel a little sad. I feel
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel the same way. Yeah. It's funny. It almost feels like there's like a, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough to explain. It's like I needed to get something out of me and it's not coming out. So it's just like a pool of water that's just s- stagnant, been there too long. Interesting.
Exactly.
Um, this is a good one and different for every person who
Mhm.
creates stuff. What is your mm, like motivation for the stuff that you do?
Well, my motivation is mostly I like to do drawings and depictions of people of color, mainly Black people, because when I was younger and just starting to get interested in art, I just didn't see many pieces that featured people who looked like me or like my family. And so I try to make it a point to um, feature people who usually aren't like chosen as models or who there's not many examples of
Mhm.
in contemporary art and in classical art. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
And that was a problem for me. Like in university, there was not one model of color that we had come sit for us in art class. And I just thought that was so wild, not only because, you have to approach light and color mixing in a slightly different way when you deal with different skin tones, but also because why wouldn't you try your hardest to um, give a wide range of models for students who are just finding their feet, and who come
Mhm.
from all different backgrounds. If you want people to produce the same, very like vanilla, same kind of models, same types of bodies, artwork, then, what boundaries are you pushing as an art department?
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that really pissed me off.
So you're saying the art department wasn't being creative in their
Whoa,
choices?
them is fighting words. Yeah.
Whoa. Hey, well, I'm just merely asking. I don't know, but
Hmm. Yeah, I actually didn't think that they were being so creative. So I guess you're right.
Mhm.
Hmm. And what I thought. And yeah, I didn't like that. I felt there wasn't enough representation, and I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of the art professors weren't so open-minded in that way, or didn't even understand the importance,
Uh,
yeah, of representation. And also there weren't any professors that were Black until, or of color, until like my senior year in the art department.
mm,
So yeah.
interesting. That makes sense.
Mhm.
So what else? What else? Life as a creative. Um, Anything else you want to say? Otherwise, I have another question, but I want to give you a.
Hit me with your question.
Okay. Uh, Wait, it just kind of left my head. It'll come back. Um, oh yeah. Do you find as a creative person that you see things sometimes that other people don't see in situations?
Ooh.
Like you find
I
yourself bringing up
do.
things that other people are like, didn't see that or think about it.
I think so. I mean, me as a person, I do live a little bit more up in the clouds. So I do notice things that it seems like other people just aren't interested in, or maybe choose not to notice because it's like, I don't know, nothing to them. It's like a leaf flowing through the wind, and I'll just be like, ooh, like I wonder like what it would look like if a ladybug were crawling on that leaf at the same time that we're flowing through the wind across the street. And what kind of journey has this ladybug been going on its whole life? Like, how long has its life been? How long will it be? Does it have a family? Will it leave their family, never see them again? Does it miss them?
I know the answer to those questions. I have a business meeting in about 3 minutes. I have to attend.
Yeah.
That's usually what's on people's minds. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Um, and I'll spend a really long time wondering about it.
That's cool though.
And
I mean, leisure time is really important. Like,
mhm,
and if leisure time can positively affect your, like leisure out of leisure time could come like your next inspiration for a song for me or um, a painting for you or something or a drawing sketch. So
mhm,
yeah, leisure time is very important. I think we laugh when we think about like thinking about a ladybug on a leaf, but it's important. I mean, it's like
mhm,
rest is as productive as productivity.
mhm. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think that there's anything wrong with being dreamy and um, I don't know, enjoying the poetry of life. I
Mm,
think it's nice.
yeah, nice.
It's
Yeah,
important.
I used to like enjoy all that stuff, and then I got out of it, and then I got back into it. I've been getting quite literally back into poetry, like reading it a lot more. Uh,
Hmm.
I find it cool because poetry is a lot like that. Like it talks about things that I don't know. Like they say, people say like comedy is funny because it makes you look at everyday things in a different way. And then I feel like poetry is a lot like that too. It may not be funny, but it like helps you look at things in a different way. And like for me, I feel better once I've like read a good poem. I'm like, oh damn, like I don't know, it just makes the next day or the late or that day like not so hum and drum. It's like I look at things differently. It's more exciting.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's a certain electricity around things. Uh, but I feel like I always have that. Or at least most of the time, unless I'm in a really bad mood and I'm like, everything is gray and like,
Yeah,
usually then the earth will send something my way that snaps me out of it. And I'm like, oh,
that's cool. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a really cool way of looking at it. Yeah.
Hmm. Very much about experiences and trying to see things in a different way. a
Mhm.
different perspective, even if just for a moment,
Mhm.
because I think there's always something to learn in that, you know?
Mhm. So do
Yeah.
you like doing different things you've never done before?
Ooh, I do. Unless it's a cold shower, and then I don't support it. Not relaxing, 0 out of 10, do not recommend.
Yeah, it's not relaxing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
But yeah, I definitely do like I guess my saying since a couple of years ago has been, "I'll try anything twice."
Twice. Okay. Not even once, but twice. You're like this dish
I'll try
sucks, but
anything
maybe it was a bad day.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Could
That's
be someone could be having a bad day, the cook could be having a bad day, you could be having a bad day, so
that's
I
a good
think 2
point.
times a charm.
No,
Then you
actually
can make a good assumption about whether or not you like this thing.
yeah. I my friend and I actually were just talking about that recently. That's funny that you say that, like that you could be
Mhm,
having a bad day. Like there's times where I've listened to a song, watched a movie, whatever really, had an experience and it was right because like something internally in me was right and it was like good
mhm.
for that. You know what I mean? Uh
Yeah,
so like yeah, it is funny. There's times where I'm like this sucks and then I do something again. I'm like this is great or like or the other way around. I'm like I liked this song. Like why? And it's cuz like yeah, different like how we are internally it's tough to put into words but how we are internally can affect that whether that's moods or emotions or what we know at the time or maybe all the above so yeah it's interesting that you bring that up I agree.
yeah. I definitely think that, I mean, even in art making, how you're feeling on the inside always influences what you produce,
Yeah.
whether you're conscious of it or not. So, um, for example, oftentimes over the winter, I like to be more solitary. Like, I like to stay inside, and I am more attracted to producing drawings and smaller things
Mm,
because they're personal and they're little and like I can hide away. And then once it gets warm, I enjoy making bigger pieces of work and, being more active and open and free.
mhm.
So that's something that can definitely directly affect my work
Yeah.
in an interesting way. And I think I'm often surprised about how powerful my inner mood is in
Yeah.
terms of like how it affects my work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's not something that like if you sit down and want to do something creative it's all about your mood as opposed to like I don't know doing a job that is not so creative based, you know.
Yeah. But I think the funny thing is that even though like I can not be upset with myself, but I'm like, oh, like I can say like, oh, I'm too moody or whatever. But whenever I do a job that's very separate from my mood and being connected to myself and how I'm feeling, it actually makes me feel worse. I feel more depressed
Mm,
because I like being connected with my inner self and things
yeah.
like that. Mhm.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree. Um, all right, we're pretty much at time. So anything else you want to wrap up with the your interest of being alive as a creative person?
Alive. It's very important to connect with nature. So make sure that you take off your shoes for a little time. I don't know, at least a little time during the week, and you put your feet in some grass and enjoy.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. I like that. I've actually done that recently, although not as much in winter.
Yeah, yikes. I'm making
I
that.
just I yeah, I went back inside and I didn't have any toes anymore. They were gone. Yeah.
Just stubs.
Oh God. Oh. But anyway, yeah, no, that's a really good, really good advice. So all right, thanks. Teray, thanks for this talk. This was awesome. And
Thank
episode 4
you.
is in the bag.
All right. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you very much.
Yay, thanks. Bye bye, everyone.